Well, Bitcoin seems to be pulling back today after having a breakout yesterday, and so far it has almost taken back all of the gains that were made. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how we can take the Bitcoin price action, combine it with some other tools, and using those in combination, it will show us whether or not we should be shifting our focus to trading altcoins or stick with Bitcoin. So if you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Be sure to smash that like button and let's get into this video. When you start your trading day, you need to be having a look at what Bitcoin is doing first. And so let's catch up with the Bitcoin price since the last update. The last update we did on this channel was Sunday, where we were looking for the potential false move. And what I said on Sunday's update was that I would not be surprised if we broke out to have a breakout of the 4-hour symmetrical triangle right here, induce traders to go into long positions before taking it back. Now, that's what has happened. And in that happening, what that's done is completed the formation. So you can see here the W formation, rise 1, rise 2. The reason that I was suspecting a breakout was because at the time we hadn't had the level 3 rise yet. So that breakout did give us the level 3 rise. But what I want to be cautious of right now is this doesn't necessarily mean we're going down from here, because this could simply be a breakout and a retest of that 4-hour triangle. And there's a possibility that this is still bullish, especially when you have a look at the candle formations around the 50 EMA. So if price can get back above the 50 EMA and hold above it for Bitcoin, then maybe Bitcoin will just consolidate or it will keep going. We'll have to have a look at that. But so far, this really could just be a break and retest of that 4-hour triangle. So now let's have a look at what Ethereum did, because with Ethereum, I had pointed out these two levels and said, if it cannot break above this level, we would be going down for another level drop. But if it did, then we would make a run for the high of the week. And that's what happened. Ethereum made a run for the high of the week. It broke it. It took out all the liquidity up here, and then it's currently retracing. So does that mean now that the move to the upside is completely over? I don't think it does, and I'm about to show you why. But in saying that, and before I show you why, what this is leading me to believe is that if we have smaller time frame drops, so 15-minute, 5-minute, if we continue to have them, so 3 drops on a smaller time frame, that's just going to lead me to believe that this is retracing as a retest to take back some of this fast move right here. If we keep pushing down, all we're doing is rebalancing this zone, because at the same time that we've rebalanced this zone, we will take out this liquidity and we will test EMAs. So with Ethereum pulling back, I'm not worried about this at all. And the reason I'm not worried about it is because of ETH-BTC. Now look what's happened with ETH-BTC since the last update. We were here when I gave that update and I said, wait for a second side to push out for a W formation. This had set up to look like a W, but it wasn't yet confirmed. Price then crossed that 50 EMA with the volume, and when it does that, it makes a run for the 200. That's the method, and it's done this exactly, right? Broke the 50 with volume, run for the 200. The next step after that, and this is the step that actually confirms the W. So at any point from now, the W can fail. But if what I'm about to tell you happens, the W will be confirmed. So one of two things can happen from here. Now that it's hit the 200 EMA, either price will trickle back down to retest the 50 EMA. So price will come back as a retracement. So that's option 1. But option 2 is price consolidates. And as the price is consolidating, the EMA will catch up to the price. So price would do that. So that's option 2. And that would end up being what this drawing right here that we did on Sunday was talking about. So this is what we're waiting for on ETH-BTC. And if that happens, then we're going to have a really good time trading altcoins. And I've got even more to add to that. Let me show you this image. Now, if you haven't seen this before, this is a Bitcoin dominance image. What you're looking at is on the left is Bitcoin dominance, in the middle is Bitcoin price, and on the right is altcoin. So it's showing you when Bitcoin dominance is doing one thing, Bitcoin's doing another thing, how the combination of those two affect altcoins. what we know for sure is that Bitcoin price is decreasing. So we're only looking at those two rows in the middle that say Bitcoin, decrease, decrease. Now, when you go to the left of that and it says Bitcoin dominance increasing, so if the dominance currently, which we're going to have a look at in a second, if the dominance is increasing, but the price is decreasing, altcoins will dump really hard. However, if Bitcoin price is decreasing, again, which it is, and the dominance is also decreasing, altcoins will remain stable. So why am I showing you this? The reason that I'm showing you this goes back to the ETH BTC chart, because we're going to have a look at dominance in a second. But if the Bitcoin dominance is also pulling back, because we know the price is, then that might mean that this consolidate. And if it does, we want to have a look at our favorite altcoins to consolidate as well, because when they finish that consolidation, the breakout will most likely end up being a really, really good trade. And this could take a couple of days. So right now is the time to chart and set your alerts and be ready. So now that we know all of that, let's have a look at the Bitcoin dominance. And the Bitcoin dominance is this one here. And look, we can see that's exactly what happens. So Bitcoin dominance is dropping. So dominance is dropping, price is dropping. Temporarily, doesn't matter. It's temporarily dropping right now. That's great. If that continues, then our alts are going to have a longer consolidation. And the longer consolidation just gives us more price action to know where to put our stop losses, because consolidation is where the stop hunts happen. And if we can see a stop hunt, then we know where to put our stop loss. So it's no problem if that continues to happen. But let's go back to that image again, because what if Bitcoin's price starts to increase now? Because we know that on the 4-hour time frame, it could be a break and it could be a retest currently. So what if Bitcoin takes off for another leg anytime soon? That would mean that the Bitcoin price is increasing. So then we would have to come back to have a look if the dominance is increasing or decreasing as well. So if Bitcoin bounces from here and starts to move up and the dominance also starts to increase, then you don't want to be trading altcoins. Your altcoins are going to decrease in price or potentially stay still. Just depends how dramatic it is. So you need to keep an eye on that. However, if the Bitcoin price bounces and it continues to increase from here, but the dominance decreases, your altcoins are going to fly. Okay, so before you trade anything, please, if Bitcoin bounces from where it is now, please have a look at the Bitcoin dominance. In an instant, it tells you whether it's worth trading altcoins or not. Now, if all of that happens, then you want to know, okay, what's going to be the best opportunity for me to trade? So let's have a look at how you would figure that out. So I've got a watch list here that I keep on CoinMarketCap. These are coins that are many different type of market caps and whatnot, but I like to trade them. I understand them and they're easy. So that's probably another step you can do actually, is make yourself a watch list of things that you like to trade. And then when you come to CoinMarketCap, it's very, very simple. Again, I just want to find the biggest opportunity. So I'm going to click on the 7-day until it brings up the biggest dump, okay? Because I want to know what has retraced the most recently. And then I'm looking for something that is starting to turn green on the 1 hour, because that's telling me that after this big move to the downside, it may be starting to turn around. So I'm going to have a look at this one here. Next, we'll have a look at Joystream. We'll have a look at Nolus. I know that Nolus has been struggling lately. So let's see if that's found its bottom, and we'll see how many of these I can get through before this video gets too long. So let's go. Rapid fire altcoin TA coming at you right now. So the first one is next. This is the previous vector candle zone that is still unrecovered. You can see here there's a fair few red blue candles. I'm going to do all of these on the 4-hour time frame. I like to trade altcoins on a higher time frame. I just like to have a little bit more room to move, especially if they're low liquidity, because you just need that extra protection with the stop hunts. And also it just leads to a lot more chill trading as well, because I don't have to monitor this every session if I happen to get what I want. So the thing that I'm immediately noticing about next is that we had these 3 hits to the high. This would have been the high of the week at the time, and it was actually over a very long period of time. This drop here is through the 50 EMA, so that caused the level 1 on the 4-hour. Retracement through here, another drop, retracement, drop. Now there could be more to go, because this drop here is rather dramatic. This one is rather dramatic. This one not so much. So there may be be more downside to go. However, at the moment, it seems to be settling around here, and I want to see if that holds. So my two options on this is going to be start to look for a change in market structure within this consolidation, because I can identify trap traders here. So this is where we had this big move to the downside and they stopped that volume to the downside here. And ever since then, we haven't returned to that wick. So this little portion here of that wick to where the last candles have been, that is the current trapped traders. So what I want to identify on next, if I'm going to take a long position, is I want to make sure these trapped traders stay trapped. And because we're consolidating, this will make this move potentially a half Batman, because we don't have any stop hunts in the zone. And so a half Batman is when you have that final damage move down after your levels have completed, and then price just goes sideways as it consolidates. It's called half Batman because it's only one of Batman's ears. I don't make the names up. I just follow the method. The aggressive way to trade it is to take longs at the consolidation. So every time it hits down here. But in this case, because I'm not 100% sure if we're at drop level 3 or drop 2, see how the drop 1 was massive and the drop 3 was massive, but the 2 isn't massive. That's what's making me think that it's a possibility that there's another drop to come, but also the drops don't have to be the same size. So I need to be prepared for both. And that's why I'm going to set this condition for myself, where if I was to trade this as a long position, I won't trade how I would normally aggressively trade this, which is taking longs off the support here, knowing that these traders are trapped and that they haven't yet released them. I would take the more conservative approach with this one. And there's two ways to take the conservative approach. Either we're going to change market structure in this zone. So there will be a higher low that forms, and that higher low will inevitably lead to a breakout to the upside. So if I got that, I may consider entering a long position. The other one, if you want to be a conservative trader, which is nothing wrong with that, you'll likely have a higher win rate if you're a conservative trader, is I will wait for the break of this resistance here and also the 50 EMA, come back, and the condition for that break would have to be a break with volume, not just a break, with a wick or something like that. A break with volume of the 50 EMA, come back for the retest, and then get involved there. So there are two ways to trade this one. Know that there's a higher chance of it not playing out if you try to get this, but your risk to reward is probably going to be better. And this one is a higher chance of playing out, but you'll be waiting longer for it to happen. Now, should this support not hold and we actually do have a level 3 drop coming, then again, that is why I'm not taking an aggressive entry on this, because I think there's a high chance that that could happen. Then I'm going to be looking in this zone that I've highlighted to see how much of the vectors in this zone it recovers. I would expect that if that were to happen, that is then the final drop. So then I would be looking for W formations, all of the reversal signals that you get if you know this method in full. By the way, we have full courses if you are wanting to learn it in full. Link in the description down below. But that's what I would then start looking for if we do come into this zone. Now, the next one that we had on our watch list was Joystream, and I don't actually particularly like this price action at all. So I'm probably going to scratch this, but I want to tell you why I don't like this price action and why immediately I just wouldn't chart this. That is because where I look where price is now and I look left, I don't see any vectors here. So there is no reason for this to stop at this point in time. It may mean that I just need a older chart with more price action, because when I zoom out, this is when the chart was listed on BitGet. This is like immediately no. Immediately no. So we're going to move on from Joy. And that brings me to Nolus, which I mentioned just is really in struggle town right now, but it won't stay in struggle town forever. This is the half Batman in the opposite direction. So this is a really good example actually to show you what it looks like both ways. So you have the half ear and then we have the sideways movement, and that sideways movement was just in a square range with no real stop hunts either side, and then it ended up breaking away. So when I have a look at that, I can again identify level 1 drop after that half Batman, retracement, level 2 drop, retracement, level 3 through here. And now again, it's just consolidating, but it's consolidating sort of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there are these vectors here, so it may not come down as low as I've marked. It may be consolidating because of these. And the reason I marked that one is because this is where the last attempted return was, and we haven't returned there since. I don't usually pay attention like this when I don't have a retest of that zone, but we do have to pay attention in this case because that's where the price is right now. But I'm not 100% certain that the level 3 is over on this one. I ideally want to see it come down into my lower zone, but ideally I'd like to see level 3 end there before looking for a W formation. But again, with paying attention to that Bitcoin dominance and all of that sort of stuff, if this does just continue to consolidate, then the trade is going to be the breakout of the 50 EMA. Just because it's consolidated for so long, it would be too risky to long it from where it is now, because look at this consolidated for a long time as well, and then it broke down. So how do we know that this consolidation is going to finish it? Potentially at level 3, that might be one reason why, but I don't really have clearly identified trap traders. And again, it's because this is super low liquidity, you know, like look, without even knowing, you can have a look at the wicks here. You know what, guys? I want to talk to you one day. I'm not going to do it on this video because it will go on for too long, but I want to show you these two lines here. This is called the bid and ask line, and they are so important for whether or not you should trade a coin or not. So if you want me to go into detail on those, because again, like you saw how quickly I dismissed Joy simply by looking at a vector, these bid and ask lines, exactly the same thing, and it will cut down your charting time. So if you want me to do a video on that, leave a comment down below. I was actually talking to someone who runs an exchange about that, and even he was like, you should teach people about this because nobody talks about it. And so there you go. Even the exchange said, Annii, expose our secrets. So moral of the story is I'm dismissing Nolus for now unless it can get back above the 50 EMA. That would be the only way I would trade it. I want to see it get out of its current zone, retest that. Then I would get involved in a long position is option 1. Option 2 is let it continue down into this zone, then look for W formations there. All right, now Pip, this one is actually really quite interesting to me, and I'm going to tell you why. The rises are pretty obvious. I don't think I have to mark them out. You can very clearly see green rises here. The drops are not, because you can't clearly see red vectors here, but this right here, in my opinion, would have been a sideways 3-level drop as opposed to the stacked drops. So a stacked drop is when you can see a clear increase in price. That's the normal rises and drops that you're looking for. Sideways rises and drops don't do that. They can look like consolidation, and essentially after you've had them, the price is still the same. It's just stuck within a range, and they end up looking really just like a big consolidation. There's no trend, there's nothing. It's essentially what's happening is the market maker is accumulating contract before they make their next move. So this has the potential to be that. And whilst I don't see red vectors here, I'm going to assume they probably do exist on smaller timeframes. But the reason why I like this, and I think that that could be a sideways 3-level drop that is played out with the potential for something to change soon, is because of where this low is in relation to these vectors right here. There's actually 2 things that I would watch out for on Pyth, and that is going to be this entire vector zone here. If it comes back there, number 1, see what happens. But if it breaks below it, then this one here, because what I do know for sure is that this here is the trapped traders, right? They're probably already liquidated, but that's the last ones I can really identify to the downside. And when I look at this as a retail trader, I would connect the highs and I would connect the lows, and I would probably tell myself that this is a wedge formation happening right now with 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be another one, then a higher low, then a breakout. So I want to keep an eye on all of that happening. So something like this, higher low, if that happens, I would expect the breakout, and I would say that these drops are done. We stayed clear of the 2 zones that are kind of my reassessment zone, and then we would be good for a long position. Now, if this doesn't happen, I would just scratch this idea altogether, wait for price to come into this zone, reassess what it's doing, looking for W formations, all that sort of stuff. And if it was dramatic, then this one next. But I kind of don't mind this, because what I feel like is this drop here broke below the 200 EMA. We've come back to retest the 50, but this now might make the attempt to get back above it. And that's what I would need to watch for over the next couple of days before taking any action on Pyth. Now, when I look at Arweave, this is also really interesting to me because what I can immediately identify is a very multi-day, probably even multi-week actually, M formation through here. And this is a retest. So this actually should have a lot more downside to come, but it may get saved by the fact we're in a bull market. So it may not actually get its 3-level drop. But I tell you what, if this came back to the 800 EMA, I would not be mad about it on Arweave. And I would probably actually buy it for part of my portfolio. And the reason that the 800 EMA has my attention again is because of these two vectors here. See how this candle returned to it? Will we return there again? To me, that would be an investing opportunity, not a short-term trading opportunity. I'd love to be able to buy Arweave at like somewhere between $16.50 to $23. That would be great. And that probably would complete the M drops into that zone if that were to happen. But again, we're in a bull market. We may not get that much of a pullback. What I'd be looking for as a trade is this blue vector zone instead, where we can see again, we've wicked into it once. We've returned there, but not fully. And now it looks like price is trying to get back above the 50 EMA. So I would probably say on a smaller time frame, this here would have been an M formation, drop, retrace, drop, retrace, drop. On a 1 hour or 15, I think you would be able to find that easily. So this could be the attempted change in market structure, but it's not convincing enough to me yet. So I would not touch this unless it can get back above and hold above the 50 EMA. If it did that, the targets on all of these things are just back to the previous vector anyway. All right, let's look at Link. So with Link, you have to zoom out a lot because it had a really big push up from $5 down here to where it is now. But again, just eyeballing it, you can see the rises through here. You can see how volatile it got when it hit the top. There is a possibility that this is a 800 EMA W formation right here, and that would make it a daily time frame 200 EMA W formation, which is very bullish. However, that W is not yet confirmed. So what would have to confirm it would actually be it has to get back to this peak here. So it has to get back to the middle of the peak. But the thing is, you have to take a chance on it. So if you were going to trade this, it's kind of in a good spot now where it is, because even though that's a higher time frame W, this candle right here currently, which hasn't closed at the time I'm filming this, so it could change, but it's returned to this vector and not come all the way back into it. So if the price does not return into this vector at all and we start to move away now, it may make its move up to come back to this center peak of the W, which could be a trade in itself. So let's just say the candle closed, your stop loss would go under this right here, and you would run that up to about the middle of that candle. The 2.5 to 1 risk reward. It's not the best, but it would only be to the center peak of the W, and then at least you'd have a confirmed trend change. But once you had that confirmed trend change, it would create a higher low, so you'd have to take a chance on holding beyond that. And if it did that, you would then expect the next level to happen next, which should take you into these vector candles right here. So then you would hold on to that trade a little bit longer, and now it becomes a 4-to-1 trade. So this has potential, but you got to wait for these candles to close. If this candle doesn't close as a hammer, by the time this video comes out, the candle would be closed too late. But anyway, if the candles after this look bullish, this could be an okay zone to take a long position. But again, if you're going to take that trade, before you take it, go and have a look at Bitcoin, make sure Bitcoin's bouncing, have a look at the dominance. If a combination of the direction of the Bitcoin price and the direction of the Bitcoin dominance tells you that alts are going to fly next, take the trade. If it doesn't tell you that, just keep watching Bitcoin, keep trading Bitcoin, keep your eyes focused on that. But you really need to pay attention to the Bitcoin dominance before you bother trading alts. You're going to have better altcoin trades if you pay attention to the Bitcoin price and the Bitcoin dominance first. And if you want that extra layer of security, also have a look at the coin that you want to trade against Bitcoin. So have a look at the Bitcoin pairing of the altcoin that you want to trade.